Alright, so this is going to be part 2 of what if female deku was Cell. Now I quickly went to check on the last part because I saw a few comments on the ships. I scrolled down, and I nearly spat out my drink at the amount of likes the comment for shipping her with Android 21 was. Hold on, just for context, I'll show you it, give me a sec. This was how many likes it got. Oh gee, you guys are just terrifying when it comes to the ships. So we shall begin where we left off. I just need to figure out where we were, and then I'll continue. All right. So where we last left off, Kiyomi had just gone to sleep. As we would open up a couple months later, as Goku would say that he's got a special guest that'll be training with them, as he would call this person over, as he'd say, "This is another one of my students. She goes by her hero name is 21." As Android 21 would introduce herself, as Kiyomi would also introduce herself as Kiyomi. She is a bio-android created by Mr. David Shield and Miss Melissa Shield. As 21 would be intrigued by this because she hasn't really seen another bio-android. As Kiyomi would say, "Wait, another one?" As Goku would say, "Oh yeah, we forgot to mention, there was also another person who created a bio-android who was intending to use her for villainous purposes, but we had saved her and brought her and basically trained her, and she's planning on going to UA as well." As Kiyomi's eyes would just light up as she'd say, "That's so cool. So you know some of Mr. Goku's techniques as well?" As 21 would say, "Yeah, I know a few of them, and a few I made myself." As Kiyomi's eyes would light up even more as she'd say, "That's so cool." Hold on, give me a sec. Sorry about that, I was quite thirsty. Anyways, we get as Goku would say, "Okay, so for the first bit of training, without me, you two will be sparring against each other, as we'll see where your strengths and weaknesses are, and then improve on them." As Kiyomi and 21 would say, "Okay," as they'd get to opposite ends, as they would begin to power up, as 21 would transform into her Majin, into her transformation, as Izumi would sort of power up to so you know how Cell had his super perfect form after he blew himself up along with Goku? Yeah, that's basically what Kiyomi powers herself up to, as both of them are at their maximum levels at this current point in time. If you want me to give her a golden form, I can, or a form higher than super perfect. Anyway, continuing. So they would both clash, as the fight would sort of go similar to how Android 17 and Piccolo's fight went. Their second fight, where they're basically repeatedly punching each other in the stomach, to like the stretching thing. Yeah, that they were basically doing that repeatedly. As Goku is looking over to David, as he said, "Do they forget how to dodge?" As David would say, "I have absolutely no clue what goes on in that girl's head. And I don't think you know what goes on in 21's head either." As Goku would say, "Fair point." As it then get to the point where Kiyomi nearly slipped up there. Kiyomi would have charged a ki blast in her hand, and so would 21, as they would both fire it, as the attacks would sort of like merge together. Well, they would sort of like clash and merge, as it would basically explode, sending each of them respectively to other halves of the island. As 21 would then fire off a ki attack. It was sort of like a disc, which would have severed one Izumi's arm. As she's looking at this, as at 21 is sort of like jokingly laughing and making puns about Izumi's missing arm. As she'd say, "You think this is funny? You think this is funny?" As 21 is just continually laughing. As Kiyomi would say, "It's not as funny as your face." As 21 would say, "Wait, what?" As Kiyomi would basically regrow her entire arm. As 21 is thinking, how in the hell? As Izumi would say, "Oh, TLDR, Piccolo cells anyway. You can thank Team 4-Star for that joke. I'm basically stealing jokes now. You're welcome." Anyways, they then continue their fight for a couple more hours until Izumi gets the jump on 21, as she would then send her into the ground, as she would basically make a massive crater in the island, as she would then revert back to her base form. As Kiyomi would then run over and help 21 up, as she would ask if she's okay. As 21 would say, "Yeah, I'm fine. But that was an amazing that was amazing. We should do this more often." As Kiyomi would say, "Yeah, it was quite fun. Hey, do you want to hang out after this?" As 21 would say, "Yeah, sure, it would be quite nice." As their training would continue on, with Goku continuing to teach Kiyomi how to use the instant transmission and her other abilities. And some of the other Z fighters, apart from Yamcha, would help her. And also, you're welcome for roasting Yamcha last time. So, I take great pride in what I do. Anyway, as we then continue on to the final months of training, as Kiyomi and 21's friendship had grown quite a fair bit, to the point where they're basically best friends, as they would basically continue sparring with each other, as Kiyomi had also discovered something she could do with her tail. She could sort of like absorb some bits of energy from people. So like I'm basically debuffing this, nerfing Cell's tail needle thing from absolutely turning people to nothing to draining some of their energy. So yeah, she won't be able to turn people into nothing. So sorry to disappoint you guys. Anyway, as she would basically stab her tail into 21's arm, which would absorb some of the energy of it, as she would then fire a blast at 21, which 21 quickly deflected, with Kiyomi realizing that 21's going to probably grab at her tail to throw her to the ground. So she'd basically end up cutting off her tail as she would continue moving about, trying to keep 21 off of her. As Kiyomi, 21 would eventually get the drop on 21 would get the drop on Kiyomi, as 21 would end up chopping Kiyomi in the back of the neck, knocking her out, as her golden aura would disappear as she'd fall to the ground. She was about to fall to the ground until 21 grabbed her by her shoulder. As 21 would basically pick up Kiyomi. I just realized I was speaking way too fast, so I apologize for that. I got excited. Anyways, 21 would basically pick up Kiyomi, bridal style, and carry her to David. Actually, carry her to her place for her to rest. As during that fight, Kiyomi basically pretended to be knocked out to see what 21 would do. As Kiyomi is basically turning red. As she would have basically fallen asleep on the way there, as 21 would have laid Kiyomi down on her bed. As when 21 was about to go, Kiyomi's tail, which had regrown, wrapped around 21's neck, and Kiyomi basically subconsciously pulled her in for a hug. If you want a visual representation, picture the first episode of Monster Mesume. I forgot the name of the characters, but I think it was Mia was her name. Used her tail to bring her caretaker back into the bed to cuddle him. It's basically like that. As 21 is basically turning red at this point. As 21 is very flustered right now with this, as she had just let it happen and continued to cuddle into Kiyomi. As finally, the next day, the UA entrance exams would roll out. As Kiyomi and 21 would have to wake up early to catch a plane to mainland Japan and land there to get to UA in time, as they were basically driven there by a limousine that was personally owned by Nezu, as both of them would have arrived, as David would have put them in for the recommendation entrance exam, which Kiyomi and 21 would have took, as they wouldn't have taken it because the Saiyan cells, Goku and Vegeta cells, would basically want them to go for the harder challenge. So they would both take the normal entrance exam, as they would then start the written portion of the entrance exam, as Kiyomi and 21 would pass with flying colors. Kiyomi, because, well, she's basically grown up. She's basically been around a scientist for most of her life, and 21, because smart. She's pretty smart, like near Nezu level. As both would end up passing with flying colors, and Kiyomi would even find some of the grammar mistakes intentionally put in by Nezu. As we then get to the part before the physical portion of the entrance exam, where President Mike is just discussing the robots as he is about to go into the 0-pointer, as Ida would then just stand up and say, "Excuse me, sir, there appear to be 4 robots on this sheet of paper, when you only said 3. If this is an oversight by UA, I'm very disappointed. And you two," as they'd point towards Kiyomi and 21, as they've basically been whispering to each other the entire time, as Ida would say, "If you two are unwilling to take this exam seriously, then you might as well just leave. As 21 was pretty angry about this, as she was about to stand up, when Kiyomi grabbed her by her shoulder and basically shook her head as she would say, "Let me handle this." As Kiyomi would say, "Well, I'm sorry. Well, excuse me, Mr. Ida, was it? I am terribly sorry that I'm trying to have a conversation to relax my friend for this entrance exam. And if you're wanting us to leave, then that's fine. It just means there would be two very dangerous people with very dangerous quirks roaming about the city and could possibly level it at any time. Would you like that on your conscience, Mr. Ida?" As Ida would be shaking, as he would say, "No, ma'am." As Kiyomi would say, "Good dog, now sit." As Ida would then sit back down, as a couple people would start giggling, as Kiyomi was sat down, as she would then say, "You may continue, Present Mike." As Present Mike would say, "Oh, okay, thank you, miss." Anyways, as he would then continue his explanation, explaining that the 0-pointer was more of an obstacle, and it won't provide any points to them if they destroy it. As Kiyomi and 21 would have been sent to different zones, as Kiyomi is in the same area as Uraraka and Ida. As Kiyomi notices Uraraka was feeling quite nervous, as she would then walk over to try and calm her down, as Ida would grab her by her shoulder. As he would basically say, "Stop. What are you doing going up to the front gate? Are you trying to distract that girl from her chances from getting into UA? If so, then this is sabotage and you should be removed from the entrance exam." As Kiyomi would basically release some of her murderous aura, as she'd say, "Look, I'm going over to try and calm her down because she seems a little tense. And if you can recognize that, then that means you shouldn't deserve to be a hero." As Kiyomi would continue walking forward, as she would ask if Uraraka was alright, as she would say, "Yeah, I'm fine." As Kiyomi would say, "Hey, it's alright, you'll do great. I know it." As the gate would then, as President Mike would then begin the countdown, as Kiyomi would say, "Well, that's my time to go. See ya." As she would then teleport into the area as she can begin throwing robots. As multiple people would begin to yell out saying, "Hey, she's cheating, she should be disqualified from the entrance exams." As President Mike would then announce, "There are no countdowns in a real villain attack. Follow her lead and go." As at this point, Kiyomi had destroyed about 15 robots by the time they got in, so about 5 3-pointers and 10 2-pointers. As she's basically blasting them with key attacks. As Goku, it will be teaching at UA, and so is All Might like in canon. As Principal Nezu would say, "These two are very fascinating. The one in, I'll say that it's City A, that Kiyomi's in, and City B that 21 is in. These two girls in City A and City B seem quite powerful. Son Goku, do you know anything about these two?" As Goku would say, "Yeah, both of them are my students. I taught them before the entrance exam. I and I know what they're capable of. They are both really powerful. As Nezu would pull up the points, as 21 and Kiyomi are about tied on points. As Nezu would then say, these two do seem very impressive in their quirks. I think they deserve to be in Class 1A. Wouldn't you say so, Racer? As Aizawa would then say, yeah, they do seem fairly powerful, but how can they handle larger villains? Nezu, I think it's about time we send the zero pointer to both cities. As Nezu would say, wait, you think so? As Aizawa would say, I know so. Let's go. As Nezu would then press the button. As rumbling could be felt in both the cities, as Kiyomi and 21 would notice the 0 pointers. Oh yeah, forgot a little tidbit beforehand. Before they got to UA, while they were driving in the limousine, both Izumi and 21 had made a bet. And that bet was whoever won the entrance exam and got first place would have to do whatever the other person says they have to do. As they would say, as Kiyomi and 21 would steal that bet. As Kiyomi was about to run away when she was about to move because it would have been a waste of energy to take out the 0 pointer, as she would have noticed that Uraraka was stuck. As Kiyomi would have flown over, as 21 was about to take out her 0 pointer, as Kiyomi would have been at the rubble where Uraraka was, as she would have lifted up the rubble and got Uraraka out and passed her to somebody who was running, as Kiyomi would have gone into a stance, and so would have Android 21. As Kiyomi would have prepared a solar Kamehameha. No, it was the solar Kamehameha. As he would have basically fired it, and 21 would have fired her attack. As both the attacks would have leveled, no, they were aiming upward, so both attacks shot into space. And sort of like crossing each other, sort of like how Goku and Gohan's Kamehamehas crossed each other in the Tournament of Power. As Kiyomi's 0 pointer and 21 0 pointers no longer exist, as President Mike would have announced that the entrance exam was over and that all participants are to leave the cities, and if they haven't passed the entrance exam, then better luck next time. As 21 and Kiyomi were about to leave, and since both of them were in recommendations but they took the normal exam, both of them had gotten their scores first, as Kiyomi would have gotten about just 1 point above 21, as Kiyomi would have started celebrating, as 21 would say, alright, a bet's a bet. Why is it? As the people who had handed them their results had already left, as Kiyomi would say, oh, what to do. Oh, I know, as 21 would say, well, what is it? As Kiyomi would say, you have to go out on a date with me. As 21 would have immediately started snickering and turning red, as she would have said, Kiyomi, you do realize you could have said that any time. We didn't have to make that bet. as Kiyomi would have immediately turned white, realizing that she just did something, she made a stupid mistake. But as 21 would have said, but hey, bet's a bet, alright, well, let's go then. As Kiyomi would say, yay! Alright, so, as 21 would then say, so, what place do you have in mind? As 21, no, oh, hold on. Yeah, as Kiyomi would say, I don't know, there's a really good restaurant I heard a couple streets down from here. You want to go there? As 21 would say, sure, it's a date. And that is where I'm going to end this part off. Now, for those of you who have made it to the end of this series, not this series, this episode, I want to announce that some of my what ifs will be cancelled. So, older what ifs, like, haven't continued, like Cthulhu and Slime Girl, have been cancelled along with Zanu due to it not being as popular as I thought it would be. So, I will be replacing them with some highly requested what ifs, those being Azuri Lane, daughter of Vegeta, and Link Deku. No, not Link, Payday Gang Deku. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Ta-ta!